Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the transatlantic. This is an LP-01. It's basically what's called a finger pole, or a lip pole. I wouldn't call it a finger pole, I'd call it a lip pole. Or a cylinder pole as well. A simple piece of bent steel that is a very petite and elegant way to get a door pulled open. Let's take some basic dimensional properties. Overall height, looks like it's about 2.5. Overall width, about 1.75 inches. Its overall projection appears to be just shy on, about 15/16. The diameter of the prep for the cylinder, .157, so 1 in 5/30 seconds, something like that, and weighs about 0.1 pound, about 1/10 of a pound. Now, where would you use this? Why would you be looking at it? Let's talk about that now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So people will use a lipped pole like this simply because you have a door that has a door closer on it, and you have a door that may have an exit device on it and a rim cylinder, and there's nothing else outside. And what has been happening is people put their key in, turn it, and then use that as a handle to pull the door open. And someone eventually will say, this doesn't seem right to do it this way, and it's not. So adding this very small pole underneath the cylinder that goes through the door is a great way to be able to solve that problem. With one hand you can insert the key and turn it, and with the other hand you can then pull your door open. They're cheap, they're effective, they're elegant, they take up a very small amount of room on the face of the door, okay? And of course they're easy to install, so what's going to happen is, if it is that exit device with a rim cylinder and a closer, that routine, you're going to take the closer off the inside of the door. You'll get to the 2 screws that hold the rim cylinder on. You'll remove those. The rim cylinder will come off from the outside. You'll put this underneath the head of the rim cylinder and then just repeat the process in reverse order, put everything back together. This can also be used in applications where you have, it's a school. There's a mortise deadbolt on a custodial closet in a hallway, and you don't want any projecting trim on the door itself, and you want a minimal amount of trim on the door to prevent or to reduce the possibility of vandalism or abusive use as the students are in the corridors. So it's a great way to go about that as well. It's made of steel. It's in an aluminum painted finish, as you can see. Let's switch to the screen view and I'll show you what supporting information I do have for this item. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So what we can start with looking at would be some images that we have uploaded here. They're below this video. Perfect diameter for mortise cylinders and rim cylinders, although really more so for rim cylinders. A typical prep for a rim cylinder is 1.25 inches. Now a mortise cylinder, which I said earlier, the diameter of a mortise cylinder is literally 1.156, and my caliper measured that as at 1.157. So it's going to be really tight for a mortise cylinder. Yeah, you might. A rim cylinder body is a little bit smaller than a mortise cylinder. A mortise cylinder is 1 in 5/30 seconds. This is 1 in 5/30 seconds. So expect that you might have to ease open that hole a little bit if you're going to use a mortise cylinder. But the rim cylinder bodies are usually a little bit smaller to fit inside of there. And indeed, an LP-01 is really intended for a rim cylinder. Now, we have linked below this video a cut sheet, and it shows the LP-01 lip pull. This, we also have linked below this video the entire product catalog, which is the file that we're looking at, or the product brochure. This was one section of the original transatlantic catalog that goes back to the 80s, to the 90s, to the 2000s. And I don't know that that document really changed much through those years, but this would have certainly been something from the early 2000s. And I don't have any printed copies of the catalog that I'm aware of, and I only have some PDF versions of it. I may have had it all at one time, but much of it's gone missing. I'd like to be able to go back and review this stuff for historical perspective, because transatlantic exit devices were and are very, very popular and common. The one that we sold the daylights out of, so to speak, bushel loads, is the ED-501. This is still an item that you can buy today. We still have it, we sell it, we stock it. The LP-01 is no longer offered by the company who owns the transatlantic name, which was Global, which now Transatlantic and Global are owned by Imperial USA. But in the Imperial catalog, if we're going to take this a step further, Imperial, it's actually Imperial USA. Manufacturer's page, Control F, Imperial USA. Their catalog will have the ED-501 in it. ED-501. Here it is. But it doesn't have an LP-01. Doesn't have a lip pole here. It has these winged poles, or sometimes people call them butterfly poles, I've heard it referred to. So the LP-01 is really nice, and we still have some in stock. I have access to this old catalog, so nonetheless, this is the deal. This is what's happening with it. Okay? We only have it in aluminum. It was available in these finishes once upon a time. And there you go. All right, let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So in conclusion, a nifty little piece of hardware. If you have that scenario where you're pulling the door open with the key, I would suggest at some point in the relative near future to employ a solution like this. Another thing that people do is they'll use a very inexpensive zinc door pull, just a storm door or a wooden screen door pull. Just steel, zinc-coated, $2 with number 8 by 3/4 inch oval head sheet metal screws. They'll put that on that metal door, and the reason that they'll do it is because should someone try to pull that door open, that pull handle is just going to rip out of the door, meaning it's frangible or it's intended to fail. You've installed it in such a way that should anyone try to exploit hardware on the door as means by which to pull the door open, it will intentionally fail. And I really wouldn't want someone yanking on the head of my cylinder in order to get the door open, because a little bit of knowledge could be a dangerous thing. If the cylinder were to be yanked out of the door somehow, which the head of the rim cylinder is brass, I could see this bending to the point where it's ineffective. I could see the head of the cylinder giving way before the two screws that are drilled and tapped and run into the back of the cylinder with the steel mounting plate failing to gain access to the head of the cylinder. The point being is the LP is nice because it is elegant and it's petite. It doesn't give someone who wants to destructively bypass the locking hardware on the door a lot of foothold, so to speak, so it's meant to fail like that. So Transatlantic is a name that goes back decades, in fact, for sure the 1970s, and who knows, maybe earlier than that. And I know that because my family had been selling Transatlantic since that time, and the story that my father related was, and it's true of many distributors, a sales rep comes in and says, "Oh, I see that you buy this from typical common, everyone knows the brand company name, and you buy those. Well, like hinges. Well, you can buy those hinges from me for half the cost, and it's the same hinge. Well, that gets the attention of a distributor, and for sure, Transatlantic would have come into the shop in the 1970s, the sales rep, and said, hey, I see that you're buying these hinges from this company. You can buy them from me for half the cost. It's Asian imported material, but to the distributor, when you scream huge increased margins, that gets a lot of attention. The upside of that logic is, by a domestic manufacturer, this would have a list price of $40. Okay, and your street price is going to be $30, let's say. Well, if you're buying this imported, it's going to be a fraction of that. The point is there are options to the end user. We can sell you this, we can sell you this. Here are the advantages, the disadvantages, the price. The advantages, the disadvantages, the price. The owner's money. Therefore, they get to make the decision. In a lot of instances, it doesn't work having imported hardware on a job because it's not approved. It's just not spec'd, it's not approved. So it's a non-starter. But when you have a subcontractor who's been hired to do the masonry work and install the frames, and he even will supply the doors and the hardware, he's going to come to you for 3070 18-gauge doors with 4-inch headers. I need butts, I need closers, I need exit devices, I need weather stripping. What about thresholds? No, I don't have to do thresholds. What do you mean you don't have to supply thresholds? It's not in my contract. Well, someone needs thresholds. But anyway, the point is someone will be obligated to supply it. And Transatlantic is, in that scenario, was always a very good option because it's quite economical and it was always good hardware. Their ED-501, a tremendous value on an exit device. Absolutely, I recommend that. If you want to keep the budget down and the dependability and reliability very high. Their hinges, sure, they're very good. I don't care for their lock sets. I don't like the way they go to, that they are disassembled to do locksmithing on them. Actually, they're my least favorite. Their door closers, fine, no problem at all. Really no problem at all. That company was repped in the 90s and in the 2000s by a gal by the name of Sandy. They were all in Philadelphia. And at some point in the late 2000s, they closed shop or were bought, and everyone retired is the bottom line. They were always in Philadelphia. Transatlantic company, we knew them. If someone came in and said, I need a taco exit device, it was Transatlantic company. Any questions on this LP-01 or anything current that Imperial USA distributes, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.